Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework, specifically the Sustainability Accounting Standard for the processed foods industry. Now, usually when we hear the word sustainability, our minds instantly jump to things like carbon footprints, right? Or renewable energy. But today, we're actually looking at a completely different, heavily scrutinized risk that dictates the very survival of global food brands. We're going to dive right in and reveal the massive hidden business risks lurking behind the everyday food we buy.
So think about this. Have you ever had to throw away food because of a recall? I mean, we've all been there. You get a news alert, you open your fridge, frantically check the barcode on a bag of spinach or a box of frozen waffles, and then toss it straight in the trash. For us, obviously, it's a huge inconvenience and a health worry. But what's happening behind the scenes at the company that actually made that product? Well, that single discarded item, it's just the tip of a massive iceberg when it comes to corporate risk.
The SASB standard we're analyzing today puts it pretty bluntly. It says poor management of food quality and safety may impair brand value, reduce revenues, and increase costs associated with recalls, fines, lost inventory, or litigation. So yeah, this isn't just about avoiding upset stomachs. It is literally a matter of absolute financial survival. Food safety is considered a critical sustainability topic because just one major contamination or spoilage incident can completely devastate a company's bottom line and erase, decades of hard-earned consumer trust.
To really understand how investors measure this hidden risk, we're going to look at the whole picture. Here's our agenda. We'll cover 1. The threat on your plate. 2. Recalls and reputational ruin. 3. Defining food safety metrics. 4. The power of audits. 5. Securing the supply chain. And 6. The true cost of food.
Section 1. The threat on your plate. Let's look at the visible consumer risks.
According to the industry standard, processed food companies face an absolute minefield of vulnerabilities every single day. We're talking about the primary causes of food safety recalls here, which include packaging defects, actual food contamination, spoilage, and mislabeling. And mislabeling is a huge one, especially when you're dealing with undeclared allergens. Just think about the sheer panic of an unexpected allergic reaction. It's exactly why even a minor oversight in labeling instantly triggers a massive, cascading cycle of severe reputational and financial risk.
Section 2. Recalls and reputational ruin. Because once a threat makes it onto a plate, the financial devastation really begins.
What's really interesting here is the actual unit of measurement they use, metric tons. When companies have to report their food safety failures to investors, those investors don't just want to know how many times a recall happened, they require companies to disclose the total amount of food product recalled in metric tons. This is to really anchor the sheer volume of physical waste, the lost inventory, and the direct financial hit. We aren't just talking about pulling a few dozen boxes off a shelf, we are often talking about thousands of metric tons of product vanishing overnight.
But, not all recalls are created equal. The SASB framework strictly requires tracking two distinct types, voluntary versus involuntary. So a voluntary recall is initiated by the company itself when they catch a food safety concern. It's bad, for sure, but hey, it at least shows the company's internal monitoring systems are working. An involuntary recall, on the other hand, that's requested or mandated by legal authorities because the product violates regulatory standards. Basically, the government caught the mistake before the company did. And for investors, that is a massive red flag regarding the company's internal controls.
Section 3. Defining food safety metrics. Tracking these risks before they turn into metric tons of wasted food.
See, the SASB standard doesn't let companies just get away with vague PR promises to be safe. No way. They must report hard, quantitative metrics. They're tracking non-conformance rates and audits, the percentage of ingredients from certified suppliers, notices of violation, and, like we mentioned, the number and weight of recalls. It completely transforms food safety from this abstract, feel-good concept into a strict accounting metric that proves a company's long-term sustainability.
Section 4. The power of audits. How exactly do they generate those metrics? By constantly inspecting their facilities.
Companies monitor their facilities using certification programs recognized by the Global Food Safety Initiative, or GFSI. When auditors come in to inspect, they categorize risks as non-conformances. Now, a minor non-conformance might just be, say, a missed logbook signature on a Tuesday night shift. It's an isolated incident. It doesn't mean the whole system is broken. But a major non-conformance, that indicates a significant risk to food safety, like outright regulatory non-compliance. It's a systemic failure that requires immediate escalation because it's a direct threat to the brand's survival.
And when a non-conformance is actually found,
A company can't just shrug and say they'll do better next time. They are measured on their corrective action rate through a strict 4-step process. Step 1. Detect the issue. Step 2. Implement practices to completely eliminate the root cause. Step 3. Ensure no reoccurrence. And Step 4. Verify that the action was taken within a strictly defined timeline. Investors track this process like hawks, because a company that detects a problem but fails to correct it, that's just a ticking time bomb.
Section 5. Securing the supply chain. Because, obviously, a brand doesn't grow all its own ingredients.
Ultimately, a brand is only as safe as its ingredients, so the standard requires companies to track the percentage of ingredients sourced from certified Tier 1 suppliers. What's a Tier 1 supplier? It's exactly what it sounds like, a supplier that transacts directly with the entity. For example, if you're a frozen pizza company, the farm that sells you the crushed tomatoes for your sauce is a Tier 1 supplier. If their food safety fails, your pizza is contaminated, period. So companies are strongly pushed to ensure their spending goes strictly to suppliers who pass rigorous audits themselves.
Because regulatory agencies really don't mess around here. If a company, or anyone in its supply chain, receives notices of food safety violations and fails to correct them, the consequences escalate super fast. Uncorrected violations lead to brutal enforcement actions. We're talking civil actions, meaning the government can literally seize your products, issue injunctions, or hit you with false claims acts. And even worse, it can lead to criminal actions, up to and including actual convictions. This is why food safety is the ultimate financial and legal risk. Section 6. The true cost of food. Let's connect these corporate metrics back to the real world. We've covered a ton of ground in this explainer today, looking at non-conformance rates, metric tons of recalls, Tier 1 suppliers, the whole shebang. But if there was one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Food safety is not just a basic health regulation. It is a critical, highly measurable pillar of corporate sustainability that completely determines a company's long-term viability. Tracking contamination, spoilage, and supply chain integrity is absolutely essential. Yes, it protects the investor's capital, but ultimately it protects everyday people and the food we bring into our homes. So knowing the incredibly severe reputational and financial risks at stake here, knowing that major corporations are meticulously tracking every single metric ton of failure, how are you going to look at the food supply chain the next time you're walking down the aisle at the grocery store? It really makes you appreciate the invisible, global web of audits and standards that are working behind the scenes to keep our shelves stocked and safe. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.